So I'm Hayley, and this is Krista behind me. We work for an organization called Everactive Schools in Alberta, Canada, and we promote health and well-being in schools across the province, and that doesn't just include a traditional school setting. That includes after school, before school, everything that kind of encompasses the school communities. Krista and I have the pleasure of working on what we would say is our favorite project at Everactive, which is called the Alberta Medical Association Youth Run Club. And so we're going to be sharing a bunch of resources from that project with you today. And the program started 7 years ago, and it was created to get students moving in whatever way they could at school. So it's called Youth Run Club, but we mainly focus on different types of games and fun activities to keep the students interested in being active. So we have a ton of resources right now because of everything that happened. What we call our Coach's Corner is open and available to anyone, which is great news, which means all of our resources are free for download to anyone, not just those in Alberta or a registered program. So we'll make sure to share that link with you at the end. But those resources and games we will be playing today. So we hope that, I don't know if everyone's prepared to get up and move, but we are, so we hope that you'll join in. We find that we learn best when we're doing and learning and playing, so we hope that you'll join in with us. If you can't, that's okay, you can just watch us do the activities, but we would love if you could participate, and we'll try to make sure that everything is inclusive so that you're able to participate at home. So I will start sharing our presentation now. So we just explained what the program was, and we're gonna get warmed up. So at Everactive Schools, we have a deck of cards. They're called Lucky Sevens. They look like this. You can purchase them online or just use a deck of cards and create your own. But these are great for warm-ups. They have a bunch of games in them, some tag games, some guessing your activity games, but we're just gonna use them today for warm-up. So we'll show you a card. I think I'll stop sharing my screen just so you can see us bigger for these, and then we'll do the action on them. So for the first card we have is, if everyone can see that, is our jumping jacks. So for our jumping jacks, our number on the card is 7, so we're just gonna get warmed up and we're gonna do 7 jumping jacks. Awesome, great to see those participating. Our next one is a 1-foot balance. So whichever way you're able to balance on 1 foot, and our number is 2. So we'll do 2 seconds on 1 foot, and then we'll switch to our other foot and do 1 and 2 seconds. Awesome. Our next card is bear walk. So for this one, we're gonna walk like a bear, and it's king, so it's a face card, so we do 10 of those. So Chris and I are gonna spread out here. So legs straight, arms spread out, and you're gonna walk like a bear around the room 10 times. Awesome, I like that one because it warms up your arms as well as your legs nicely. The next one is 2 planks to your forearms. If you have to do this from your knees also, that's perfectly fine. So Krista will do it from her knees, I'll do it from my hands. So you're gonna spread out hands on your hands and your toes, or on your knees. Keep your body nice and flat, body nice and flat. You're gonna go down with your forearms, back up twice. Give everyone another second to come back. Awesome. Our next one is a nice balance, so an airplane balance, 6 seconds. So we'll do 6 on each side. If it feels hard for you, you can lower your toe closer to the ground. If it's too easy, lift up higher. And switch sides. I am always worse on my right foot than my left. You know. Okay. And our last warm up is hops. So 1 foot hops, and our number is 3. So we'll do 3 on each leg. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. I know I'm nice and warm. Hopefully everyone else is, and I'll pass it over to Krista for our first activity.
All right, so when COVID hit and all of the schools kind of went, they weren't in session anymore, we kind of had to adapt the programming. So we came up with an at-home resource. So all of these activities, they can be done socially distanced, they can be done with one player or two. So if you have to do anything virtually. So our first game, we like to call it four-leaf clover. So we have set up behind us the cups in like kind of a diamond shape, and we'll call that our clover. If you don't have any cups at home or anything to mark with, you can just use four corners of a room. You can go back and forth, it doesn't matter. We're gonna both play this to show that you can do this socially distanced. So we'll have Hayley start at the far corner here, or the far part there, and I'll come to be at the front one. And then so what we're gonna do is from position one, so where Hayley is and then where I will be, that will be our position one. So from position one to position two, we're gonna hop. From position two to position three, we're gonna do side shuffles. From 3 to 4, we're gonna jump. And then from to back to here, we're gonna skip. And while we're at each of the stations, we're gonna do different activities. So in the number 1, we're gonna do mountain climbers. And then in number 2, we're gonna do squats. Number 3, we're gonna do jumping jacks. And at number 4, we're gonna do lunges. So I will call it out while we're doing it. So if you wanna play along or participate with us, feel free. So we'll start in our number 1 position, and we're gonna do 3 mountain climbers. So we'll get down into the mountain climbers.
For this one, your arms are out straight and you're bringing your knees to your elbows.
All right, and then once you do that, we're gonna make our way to the next one by hopping. All right, this time we're gonna do 4 squats. And then we're gonna move to the next one by doing a side shuffle. This time we're gonna do 6 jumping jacks. And then to move to the next one, we're gonna do jumps. And then here on each leg. And then to get back to the start, we're gonna skip. So this was a great, we call this one of our warm-up activities. You can do this as a warm-up, you can do this as a main activity, just to get some of the blood flowing. You can do this with one person at each of the points, or you can set up more, however it works best for you and however many participants you have.
Yeah, also, if you have maybe let's say 10 students in a big field, you can give them each their own square so they're not even interacting with anyone. So lots of ways to distance this one. Also, you can make a huge square if you only have 4, and then no one is touching by the time they get there. Another thing, if you have some tarmac space, feel free to draw this in chalk if you don't have pylons, or just even use the 4 corners. So there's many, many ways and variations you can do this. Our next activity, you might not be able to participate at home unless you have some plastic cups on hand, which is what we're gonna use. So this one you might just wanna watch. But it is great to do. You can do it with any equipment. So even if students are at home and you're doing something virtually, they can find some stuffed animals to use. Plastic cups are what we tend to use when we're at home because they're easy to get and they're cheap. Pylons, if you have them. Again, a little bit hard with touching equipment. So what I would do is give each student their own space and their own equipment to only touch if you're doing it that way. So what we're gonna do is Krista is gonna put the cups down. We have 2 colors here. So I'm gonna be red and Krista's gonna be yellow. So I will only be touching the red ones, Krista will only be touching the yellow ones. And Krista's gonna go and put them down. She's just gonna kind of toss them down. Some will be upright, some will be down. I've seen this game called a few different things. So we call it builders and bulldozers. I've also seen ice creams and volcanoes, a variety of just different things. If a student's on their own at home or a child and you're doing this activity, you can do it timed. So however many seconds it takes them to flip them all over. If they're with a sibling, it can be a challenge like Krista and I are gonna do. or if you are in a space and they each have, say, 10 cups that are theirs, whoever flips over their 10 cups the quickest. So there's a variety of different ways to do this for moving. Krista and I are only going to be allowed, because we have a small space here, to walk, just so we're not bumping into each other. But you can do it running if you have more space. So as you can see, I'm red, Krista's yellow, and we'll get started. I'm not going to get a timer out, but we'll pretend we're timing. So whoever has their color turned over quickest is going to win. So ready, set, go. I thought we were walking. Oh, right, walking. Done. Oh, okay, you beat me. So for that one, that was a quick demonstration. Obviously, you probably couldn't do that one at home, but a lot of variations you can do. And you could make it harder. So if you had siblings doing it, one could be flipping over while the other one flips back, and just timed, and then stop it and count to see who has the most. So I'll pick these up while Krista explains the next one.
Okay, so this is an animal pacing game. This game is great to play outside. If you have a gymnasium, it's really fun to play on lines. It's like and you can kind of play it like a line tag without the tag. So basically what you do is, like, the leader will call out an animal, and the kids can come up with animals. They come up with the greatest ones. So what we have is a turtle, a donkey, a horse, and a cheetah. So those are the animals. And if we call out turtle, all they have to do is walk. If we call it donkey, they'll jog. Horse, they'll run. And if we call it cheetah, they'll sprint. So we don't have that much space. So what we're going to do is just run to the other side, run, walk, jog, or sprint to the other side. And then we'll call something else, and then we'll come back.
Okay, so this one, everyone can participate in their space.
Okay, so I will call out horse, which is run. So just run to the other wall, and then I'll call out another one. Horse. All right, cheetah. Donkey. Donkey is jog. Turtle. Cheetah. Donkey. Horse. Cheetah. Okay. So that was a great game. If you want to play it outside in a bigger space, it's really fun. You can get creative in how you set it up. It's a little bit trickier in a smaller room. You can get creative in what the animals you choose, or how you call it out. If you wanted to wait till they got all the way to the end, if you're trying to wait and socially distance. If you have a bigger group, but if it's just a few of you, or if you're with siblings, you can kind of get a little bit more creative and play it a little bit more that way.
You can also get the participants to pick the animals, and it's harder than you think to think of different varying speeds of animals. Like, you normally think of something really slow and really fast, but good to incorporate too, learning about new animals and figuring out their speeds. When I first started with the Run Club 7 years ago, one thing I found was any school I went to, when you told a kid to run, they would run as fast as they could in whatever situation they were at, and then they would not last. So this one we implement to kind of teach them that there's different speeds they can run for different activities, and not always just to go as fast as you can, because they all love to do that.
Does anybody have any questions so far?
Put them in the chat box, or just call them out to us. Okay, well, we will start the next one. Feel free to put them in there, and then we'll get to them after it. Our next one is our second part of what we just did. So there's two versions of this that we like to play. We'll play one, and then I will discuss the next one. So the first one we call our pacing triangle, which isn't I don't think the name is the most fun, but the activity seems to work well. So again, if you're in a room and or virtually doing something and they don't have pylons or objects to use, again, just use two corners of a room and then the middle point as your triangle. I don't think you can see my pylon, that's right here. Field, you can use pylons and just make a big triangle, make your triangle as big or as small as you want. Really lots of ways to change it. The point of this one is, again, to teach kind of pacing and speeds. I love this activity, as you'll see, because everyone is going at their own pace and focusing on themselves. So it's not like racing essentially. But so we have a triangle here, and between different cones, we're gonna go different paces. So from the one I have right here where I am to where Krista's standing, that's going to be our fast pace or our cheetah speed. Then from where Krista is to the other corner, that's going to be our run or our horse speed. And then from that corner back to where I am, that's gonna be our walk or our break, so our turtle pace. So if you're in a spot, just do as big or little a triangle as you can. You can also go back and forth with those 3 paces across your room if that's the space you have, but we'll give it a go. One more time. So a few things I found doing this with groups is to talk, if students are getting really, really tired, to talk about, oh, you can go a little bit slower on your walk break, or maybe slow down that jog a little bit so that the sprint doesn't seem as hard. So really talking to them about that pacing of the activity. Again, social distancing, the bigger, if you have a big space, the bigger you make the triangle, the more spread out they'll be. You can do individual triangles again. So 1 or 2 students at a triangle, talk to them about careful passing distance if they are passing someone, so leave a 2-meter space. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The variation for that one, we call the butterfly. So for that one, you can use pylons and make it into butterfly wings, and the middle they're sprinting. So they sprint up the middle of the butterfly, jog around a corner, sprint up, walk around a corner. It's just a fun little change, and who doesn't love butterflies, especially in the summer?
So that one's really easy to draw in chalk too, so it can be fun, like an art project, and then you guys can do the activity with that one as well. So we caught the tail end of the previous workshop, and she was explaining the shift game. So we're gonna actually play that one when we had lined up to go. So we call this one port and starboard. So it's almost exactly the same. If we call starboard, you run to the right. If we call port, you run to the left. Bow is to the front, stern is to the back. Scrub the deck, you just lay down. You can do a plank. You can get creative with your movements. Submarine, so you lay on your back with one leg up in the air, and then captain's coming, and then you can salute. So again, we can space ourselves out in the space you have. You can do this in an open field. If you have a smaller space, just make sure they're spread out. This one's a really easy one to do distanced, so we hope you join in. So I will call them out if you want to play along. Bow, so run to the front. Run, walk, hop, skip. You can change the locomotor movements to whatever is best for your participants. So port to the left. Stern to the back. Scrub the deck, lay down. Starboard to the right. Submarine. Bow to the front. Captain's coming. Stern. Back. Thanks. Scrub the deck. Starboard to the right. Port to the left. Bow. Front. Submarine. Okay, so I think we all get the idea there. You can start doing it when they get familiar with the commands, so you can do it pretty quick, so you can kind of mix them up a bit. Yeah, so that one's a really easy one to do distance in a big space. Yeah.
Okay, our next one is a variation of rock, paper, scissors. So how we're gonna play this is, if you are alone, which you most likely are if you're joining this call, you can either join Team Hayley, which is me, or Team Krista, and whatever we do, we're gonna be playing for you. So unfortunately, for whoever decides to be on Team Hayley. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at rock, paper, scissors. But so what we're gonna do is Krista and I are gonna play rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins the game gets to pick the activity that you're both gonna do. So we're keeping everyone active. It's not a punishment, but the person who wins gets to pick the activity that you're both gonna participate in. So pick whose team you're on, Team Hayley or Team Krista. I feel like everyone is now gonna pick Krista. And then feel free to do the activities with us. Ready?
Oh, you win.
We're gonna do, we're gonna reach up as tall as we can and then down for our toes 3 times. So nice stretch. And last one.
Good one.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Again.
Again.
We're gonna do 3 squats this time. Okay. Again, now that I said it.
Everybody should have picked Team Hayley, apparently.
My legs feel tight, so we're just gonna do a nice stretch by pulling our heel into our bum. Hold for 5 seconds, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, and shake our legs out. Again. We're gonna do toe touches. So touch your toe 5 times. And I don't know, so another variation on this, which we'll do for the last one, is instead of rock, paper, scissors, which is good, especially for socially distanced, if you want a 2-meter gap to be able to see what they're doing with their hands, is body rock, paper, scissors. So we do rock is a little ball, paper is just out nice and wide, and scissors are across. Yeah, scissors are across. So we'll do that for the last one. So 1, 2, 3. Go ahead! You win. That's our activity.
Let's do 10 butt kicks.
Okay, awesome. And then we're gonna do one more rock, paper, scissors activity. So this one's a little bit different. So again, pick which team you're on because you're likely not with someone. For this one, we'll do our body rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins has to try to touch the wall of the other person before they touch it. So again, trying to be socially distanced, we don't want to tag people, which is normally how we would play this. So you're just trying to touch the wall they're trying to touch quicker than they are. So for Krista, it's that wall, me, it's that wall. Okay, ready? Yeah. And so if you're alone, try to touch the wall before we get to this. Okay, which of your walls might be closer or further away, so it'll be a challenge. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So I did not beat Krista that time, obviously. I feel like we should go to that wall.
Yeah,
further. Let's go to that wall. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Our reaction time is not the best. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. I think Krista smoked me in that one. Oh, so that's rock, paper, scissors. There's a variety of different ways you can play this. We also do a rock, paper, scissors, what we call football essentially. So 2 people starting at different end lines. So Krista and I with the team. A little bit harder to do distanced, but you can still do it with using poly spots or markers to keep students apart. And then just making sure they're leaving 1 or 2 spots between them when they meet up. But they would run towards each other, play rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins continues to move towards the other end line. Whoever loses goes to the back and a new student comes and meets them. So I really like that one, especially if you have a lot of space. But again, unless you have poly spots or chalk marked out, is a little tricky to do socially distanced, but you can do it as long as students are following those rules. Okay, one other activity that we're gonna show you is we call ladders. So this one, there's only 2 of us, so it might look a little funny, but if you have a bunch of students, it's a great way to make a human ladder, and you can easily do it socially distanced. So Chris and I will show you more so than actually be able to demonstrate it because of our space. Oh yeah, we can use cups. That's a good idea, Krista. So what you would do is you would have your students sitting like I am. So my legs and Krista's legs are probably about 1 meter apart. I don't know if you can see us if you go that far away, but they'll be about 1 meter apart between our feet. So between our bodies is probably more than 2 meters, which is great. You're sitting down, and then there'd be other students about 2 meters apart. So you're making a big ladder. This one's great if you have a field or a large gym to play it in. And then what happens is you can number your groups off. So Krista and I here will be number 2. So when the number 2 is called, you get up, run to the front of the ladder, run over the ladder, so jumping over the spots where the legs would be, back to our spots. And if you want to make it competitive, it can be whoever is sitting down first, back in their spot, would get a point, and they can keep track of their own points. But so that is one that, again, you can do. I would suggest if you do it, try to create some sort of markers so they remember where their spot is and they go back nice and distance to that spot. Just knowing that, like even me, I was like, oh no, where I was sitting. So I think those spots will really help keep that distance between students. One other activity that we will do is with our Lucky Sevens, which you can just print any sort of activity card if you don't have these. You can also purchase them if you'd like, but if you don't have them, just print out your own activity cards. And for this one, we can do it virtually, which is great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold up one of our activity cards. They're one of the ones we did in warm up. And those of you at home, you're gonna act out the activity and I have to guess which one you're doing.
But you can't look in the...
And you can't say what it is. All I can see is how does that work? I won't look at myself in the mirror, but I'll let Krista, I'll just hold it out. But I will try to see what you guys are doing. Block me with my hand.
Here, I'll have to see if it's good. Here, I'll just...
I think it is. I see people moving.
Oh.
Jumping jacks! Okay, awesome.
Nice.
Okay, the next one. 1 foot balance.
Nice.
Awesome.
You can't look at
Oh,
it.
sure. That one at the bottom. I'm forgetting what I'm doing. Plank to forearms. I like the cameras that are raised and the hands going. Airplane balance. Hop. And our last one. Bear walk. Awesome.
So this is a great game. We call it heads up, or you can call it headbands, or however you want to call it. But you can kind of just have them spread out. It's best, I guess, to do if we're not trying to use equipment or having other people, like with siblings, you can play it like that. Or you can just have other activities printed out on pieces of paper and that are more disposable.
You could also pick like one student to do the activity and you all have to pick. So even without the cards, they could just do it and then you're trying to guess what the activity name is called. Another great one is you could do it with animals. So if you don't want to do activities and want to get a little silly, it can be animal cards or it can be the students acting out animals and you have to guess what they are moving around.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we're just flying through all of our activities. So I guess we can stop. Does anybody have any questions or comments? We're almost done. So if anybody has anything that they'd like to say. Thank you.
Okay. Feel free to type questions into the chat box, everybody.
Yeah, we have our chat box open so we can answer the questions.
And we will put the link in there to our at-home resource, which you can get all these games at as well before we go.
I'm going to drop in, Hayley and Krista, the link to the Amy's Run Club website, as well as the Alberta Active After School Activity Database. So we do have a database that has about 800 free searchable activities in it that you can definitely access as well. Many of those can be done socially distant. And they can be filtered by things like play space and group size as well as age. So I will drop all those links into the chat now.
Thanks, Louise.
Okay, if there aren't any questions, I'll let Krista lead us through. I'll do the activities. She'll read our cool down, and then we can open it up for any other questions you have.
Okay, so what we're gonna do with our cool down is we're gonna use our Shape Safari cards. So we came up with these cards as an exploratory movement card. So on all of the cards, there's some kind of movement. So today the word we're gonna cool down to is move. So our first card is mountain, and I'll just read out the back, and Hayley will demonstrate for us. So mountain. A mountain stands tall and proud. Stand with your feet on the ground and your hands alongside your body. Can you grow tall to the top of your head? Can you imagine you're wearing a crown of clouds? Of owl. So for owl, sit with your legs stretched straight out in front of you. Cross your right foot over top of your left leg so that the bottom of your foot is on the ground and your right knee is pointing up to the sky. Hug your right knee with both of your arms. Turn your head to look behind you like an owl would. Can you look at the other direction? And now try the other side. So stick your left leg out and bring your right knee over, hug, and look behind. The other side. Awesome. This one is V, so we have valley. So sitting on your bottom, bend your knees and hug your arms around your legs. Give yourself a loving squeeze. Reach your hands back to the ground behind you to help you stay balanced. Can you lift your heels up so that your tiptoes touch the ground? Can you lift both your feet up off the floor? Can you try to straighten your legs? Can you stay balanced and reach your hands out in front of you? Awesome. And then our last letter is E, so we have eagle. So stand tall with your feet hip distance apart. Bend your knees and cross your right knee over your left. Like you were sitting with your legs crossed at the table. Can you stay balanced? Can you reach your arms out wide like an eagle spreading its wings? Can you wrap your wings in like an eagle going to sleep in its nest? Hug your arms around the front of your body. Can you try the other side? So these are our Shape Safari cards. They're a really great way to cool down at the end. So it's a way to a cool down, and you can pick any letters. So if you wanted to do spelling words, we picked move because that was a quick and easy word for us to show and demonstrate. You can do this virtually. You can do it social distanced. They're really great little cards. Yeah.
I did see someone commented and added that they would do some of these activities with hula hoops. Yeah, that's a great way to add spots or keep students distance. We love that idea.
Yeah. So they're great yoga poses. So they are mostly yoga poses and yoga. There's some breathing techniques and stuff in there. We kind of veered away from the word yoga just so it was inclusive to everybody who wanted to use them.
Painter's tape too. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, painter's tape is awesome. We're very pro painter's tape at Everactive Schools.
I know that Louise also added our Everactive Schools online store link there. And we did create a resource that kind of says like, use this instead of that. So if you're at home or you just even don't have the budget, because a lot of us don't, for fancy equipment, there's a lot of great examples. So instead of poly spots or instead of pylons, instead of a ball, like here's some great household items or cheaper items that you can use. So you can find that resource there, which is great to use in so many of these games. And yeah, Louise just said it's a free downloadable resource.
Yeah.
So we do have a few paid resources, but a lot of our resources are free, especially all of our Run Club stuff right now is free just because we opened everything up with schools being closed. So if you do want anything off there, I would suggest downloading it to your computer, because when September starts again, chances are that will be closed to our registered Alberta schools. But for now, that's open. And then that active after school database is wonderful. There's some Run Club activities in there, and there's so many things in there that you can search and find and use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, that's the